Welcome back to Houston Live. Halloween just a week away, and whether you have kids or maybe you're just preparing for a night of trick-or-treaters, safety always a top priority.
Absolutely, and a few simple tips and a little awareness is all it takes. Joining us now with what you can do to support a fun and safe Halloween, Rania Mankarious, CEO of Crimestoppers of Houston. Rania, it's always great to see you. You always have such sound advice. First of all, starting with a plan is something that you say is very, very basic. A lot of parents don't even think about it.
We don't think about it because we're so happy. It's so fun, but I think we need to sit down and think about how old our children are, where do we live, what is the location, what time do they want to go out? Do they want to go out alone with friends? Are they okay with mom or dad trailing along? And then what types of conversations are you willing to have with them? A lot of parents say, well, I don't want to scare them.
Right.
And that's fine, I get it, but if they're asking to go out alone, and they're not mature enough for the conversation, then they're not mature enough to go out alone. That is sort of my rule.
Yeah, and I think everyone too, even as someone who doesn't have kids, you want to be the cool aunt or the cool person who's saying, okay, yeah, y'all just have fun, but that's not the scenario, that's not the world we live in. So what kind of tips, if you have a younger kid, what kind of tips would you give someone?
Okay, well, first of all, pedestrian safety is huge. You know, between 5 and 9 p.m., the risk of getting killed by a car doubles on Halloween night, especially between 6 and 7. So pedestrian safety, number 1. 2, costume, make sure reflective gear, make sure it's not flammable. All of that we've always thought about. But here's the other thing. Let them walk, let them have fun, but they've got to decide, are they going to be in a group? Are they going to have location services on their phone so everybody can see exactly where they are in real time? What is their plan if they get lost from friends or if another group of kids just decides to tag along?
Right.
If they get candy and it looks tampered with or just looks odd, how are they going to handle that? A house with all the lights off, what are they going to do in that scenario? Just run through the different things you can face, and crime-stoppers.org has a lot of this information. Run through the different things you could face and give them a solution, right there. So when they're out, they don't have to really think about it.
I'm really glad you mentioned pedestrian safety because that is a huge issue. A lot of people, when you're wearing costumes, your vision is impaired, your hearing is impaired. A lot of kids just dart into the road. Rania, one thing I've learned from you over the years is that my 14-year-old is different than your 14-year-old is different than the neighbor's 14-year-old. So when it comes to a rule of thumb in terms of age, is there an age when there's that magical time like, okay, you are mature enough to go out on your own or with friends?
So Derek, you know my 3 girls, but my rules, my magic rule or my golden rule is age, maturity, and honesty. And so for me, around 10 years old, kids are going to start to ask you, can we go out alone? They are. And depending on your neighborhood, that might be no problem or it may not be a good idea. But here's the thing, age in your home, you're going to decide what the age is. Now you've got to have an honest conversation. Okay, you want to go out alone? All right. Well, what if somebody approaches you that's a stranger? What if you get lost from your friends? What if somebody invites you inside the house? Let their answers decide if they're mature enough to handle going out alone. Because the kid that says, well, mom, if the house is dark, I'm not going to go in. Or if a stranger comes to me, I'm going to know that I'm not going to or follow a stranger. If I get lost, I know what to do. They're probably telling you they're mature enough to handle it. You may not let them, but they're telling you they're mature enough. My middle daughter was like, well, if the house is dark, I still need to go. Maybe they want me to ring the doorbell, or maybe I need to peek through the window, or I don't want to be rude to the stranger.
Okay, little Tessa.
I don't want to be rude to the stranger. I'm not going to be rude. Halloween, everybody's just out to have fun. I'm not going to be rude, Mom. Okay, that's fine. She's not mature enough.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And I like the idea of running through the scenarios because if you can't handle the conversation, how are you going to handle the scenario itself, which is so brilliant. That's such a wonderful way to think of it.
It's like everything in what you just said. That's why every time you get on a plane, they make you sit through the safety precautions. They're not saying, hey, 99% chance we're going to crash. No, they're like, you're going to be safe.
Right.
But we don't want you in the moment to be like, let me come up with a plan. No, we want you to know what to do. Most likely you're not going to need it.
Right.
But we want you to know exactly what to do.
Preparation is key, having
Absolutely.
a conversation beforehand. Okay, we're tight on time, but lastly, what about the kids who decide, hey, they just want to stay home and pass out candy?
And I think that's so fun, and there's nothing wrong with it. Invite friends over, pass out candy, make sure your house is well lit. There's a clear path. Never invite kids in. Your friends are different, but strangers, you never invite them in. Make sure candy's not tampered with or open. It should be individually wrapped, and any pets should stay inside.
Okay, the
I
pet
like that.
safety, also very important. Rania Mankarious, Crimestoppers Houston, thank you so much. And again, the website is crime-stoppers.org
Yes.
if people want more information and safety tips.
Awesome.
you.
Awesome.
Thank
Good
you.
reminder always this time of year, just refresh, always go through
And happy
your
Halloween.
safety rules.